Brambles such as this are actually ideal for making the cordage with, because they're quite young. The older they get, the more woody they become, and the harder it is to obviously harvest the cordage from it, or the fibres. Let's say fibres would be a better one. But you can actually make natural cordage from most things. It just won't be as strong as the likes of this stuff. But just let me show you this one over here. If you're in a pinch, you know, anything can be used as cordage. You can even twist this up and make a simple cordage, or even the longer ones here, which will give you a little bit more cordage pretty fast. So let's process some brambles. As you can see, the length of this one's quite long, so that gives you a rough idea of the length of fibres you're going to get just from this one stem. So bramble can give you a lot of fibres in a very short amount of time. I'm actually using gloves here to take the spikes off, but that's just out of a choice. You can do this without the gloves, just up with the back of a knife, but it takes a lot longer. Now it's time to remove the outside now that all the spikes are gone. So using not a very sharp edge, but the blunt edge on my Swiss Army knife there, I'm going to sit there and remove the dark green from the outside, not pushing too hard, yeah, because I don't want to damage any of the fibres underneath. But what we want is the part between the darker green outside and the woody bit on the inside. The actual tool I'm using for this is actually the fish descaler, the back of the fish descaler on the Swiss Army knife, because it's got a nice smooth side. Once that's done, I'll take my knife and I'll just remove any notches that are on there and clean up any little bits that I've missed. But yeah, it's looking good so far. So next I use a little stick just to break the fibres up and separate the fibres from the woody pith on the inside. Just removing the fibres now. This particular one that I got was kind of woody, but then again I didn't want to take a new sapling. I thought may as well just use one of the older ones. But yeah, the fibres are still coming away quite good, and I'm still getting quite a lot of fibres from it. Here I'm just using my nail just to further process them a little bit more. Make sure that they're all nice and smooth. Make sure that there's no lumps anywhere. So here we go. Here's how you start to make the cordage. If you're just using one fibre, this is how you'd normally start off. You start off by twisting one side of the cordage away from you and the other side towards yourself until it kind of folds over and kind of makes its own little loop, as you can see in a second here. Here we go. Yeah, there's the loop. Then you just grab that twist, then you twist away from yourself and use your finger to hook the fibre that's hanging down and pull it upwards. Then the strand that's on the top, you twist it away, hook the bottom one, lift it up. Once it's on the top, twist it away. Use your finger again to hook the bottom one, lift it up and twist it away. And that's the routine throughout the whole process. While you're doing this, remember to keep a pinch on both the fibres so that it doesn't unravel itself. You want it nice and tight throughout the whole process. For the task I've set myself today though, you'll see that I'll be starting off with two separate strands. I'll be starting just off centre. And what I'll do is I'll grip the two strands and I'll do a similar process, but without the first loop. I'll just start off by twisting the fibres, twisting the top one away from myself, hooking the bottom one with my finger and pulling it towards myself, and repeating the process just like I did earlier. One of the things that I actually find helps me out with the cordage side of things, before I start bringing the actual fibres together, is like what I'm doing here. I'll just twist a length of it first, and then I'll go on to the other side and I'll twist that, and that just makes the whole process a lot smoother. Here's a bit of a closer look at the actual technique I use when I'm actually making the cordage. So now you'll begin to see why I started off with 2 strands. What I've basically done there is I've made myself a loop. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch all 4 strands and the loop together. I'm going to separate the 4 strands, and I'm going to swap one of the top ones for one of the bottom ones. And I'm going to twist those together like we would if it was the bottom and the bottom and the top and the top, if that makes sense. What that'll do is it'll stop the loop from coming undone. Here I noticed that one of my double strands was actually starting to get thin. So what I need to do now is I need to add a piece. So we do that by putting the thinner end towards the top, pinching them both together and then twisting that new piece in. And then you just continue as normal. Twist, hook, twist, hook, and carry on like that. So anytime you need to put an extra piece in, that's how you do it. And again, just one more time, another piece needs to go in. What I'm aiming for with this piece is just to keep the cordage the same thickness from start to finish. This will not only make the cordage look better, but it'll also add strength to the cordage. If the cordage dries out, just wet it and carry on. So once you've got the cordage to the length that you want, the way to finish it is just tie a simple overhand knot in the end and pull it tight. The final part is just a little bit of a clean up. So all I'm doing here is I'm just taking off any of the tails from the extra cordage that I added in there, the extra strands, and we should be left with some nice, strong, clean looking cordage. Can definitely tell it's got some strength to it. Here I just pushed the stick in the ground as though it was on a makeshift game trail, and I'm just going to tie my little noose to it just for demonstration purposes. I didn't carve the stick or anything like that because, I really didn't need to. It's just a demonstration of what you can actually use the cordage for. In reality, this would be a lot higher with a lot more cordage, so any kind of hare or rabbit that gets caught in it wouldn't be able to chew through it. Well, again, thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed my little demonstration on how to make Bramble cordage. As you can see, and probably hear, it's extremely strong cordage. You can make it pretty much whatever thickness you want. So if you wanted to make it as a bow drill, or you wanted to make it as a line, a string for an actual bow, then it's possible. This one, obviously, I used it as a little bit of a makeshift snare, just as an example. I'm not saying go out, do this and make a snare. I'm just saying that this was possibly one of the uses for it back in the day. Anyway, if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, leave me a comment. You know, I'd like to know your thoughts if you tried to actually make Bramble cordage or not. I'll be doing another video later on in the year with obviously nettle. I'll possibly be doing another one with bark, different types of bark. So the inner bark of lime. Obviously just over here as well we've got some willow, so willow bark, which is better really for doing bindings and stuff. You can do bindings with this. Let me just show you, don't want to lose that. You can actually use this for a binding as well, like willow bark. So whilst this is still connected to the ground, get a stick, yeah, prise it open a little bit with your knife, so you've got like a V, push your V on it, yeah, and twist the stick. So as an example there, yeah, let's say it's in the V, continuously twist the stick. What I'll do is I'll break up all the fibres, yeah, and even this bit here that I've taken, you know, some of the fibres off, you could still use this as a binding, you know, for a pot hanger or whatever you need, tripod for a fire, you know, you can still use this. It's still going to be pretty strong. Anyway, I'm going to leave the video there. I'm going to get back and I'll catch you on the next one hopefully. Don't forget to leave me a comment. Later.